Welcome here again. It's another series in the prophetic, and this one is about prophetic arithmetics. The prophetic have got some sort of mathematics. Now listen to me. The preparation of a prophet matters, or a prophetic fellow matters. We've been called into the prophetic. There are a lot of things about you and your call that is particularly important and associated with numbers. If you look at your prophetic walk with God right from the beginning, the inception, when you came to know or came about, you are being called into the prophetic. One, when the call came to you, the age that you were when the call came, was it when you were 17? Was it when you were 20? Was it when you were 40? That's in terms of your age then. Or was it when you were 21? Was it when you were 23 or something? Look back, and even after the call, when the prophetic things started manifesting well, perhaps you were following well, or God spontaneously decided to draw your attention. But when or at what age or which age in particular did you start seeing this thing coming real? If you are able to pick that age and try to match it up with some other things that have been happening in your life, you come to agree with me somewhere that it's very much possible that the same number in years, or maybe by the multiples of that number, have got something to do, you get me, with your other work with God. Not exclusively in all cases, but there are some persons that God deals with them that way. That being said, in the issue of your preparation, let me move there now to make issues clearer for you. There are prophets that pray for 3 days, maybe dry fasting 6 to 6, or dry fasting without food, without water for 3 days, and then they are good to go. There are those ones who take 7 days dry, no food, no water for 7 days, or they fast 6 to 6 for 7 days, as the case may be, 21 days. You get that, 40 days, 5 days, 10 days, and the likes. You must take out time to explore what belongs to you. That's how you do it. I remember that on a particular occasion, God called the prophet Moses to meet with him on a mountain. Moses was there for 6 days. Then God came and called him to come up. Get that? 6 is said to be like completion. 6 is said to represent man. That's prophetical as a symbol. You get that? Symbolically, that was the time that he was done with being man. And then God called him to come up higher in that, or on that occasion. There was another occasion that the prophet Moses went to the mountain. He stayed with God for 40 days before God was done with him, giving him the ark of the covenant. He came again the second time, and it took him another 40 days for God to give him another copy of the ark of the covenant. Listen to me. This Moses was 40 before he made an attempt to attack the Egyptian who was attacking an Israelite in Egypt then. And he couldn't do it back then because it was not set. The time was not set for him. So he fled to Jethro in Ethiopia, where he stayed again for another 40 years. These 40 years, a period of time, he came to the mountain of the Lord when he led the flock of his father-in-law, and God called out unto him 40, making 80 years of age now. That's why I talk about multiples of a number. 80 divided by 2, but 40 in the first place before he discovered himself. 40 in the second place before he learned how to work with God. Then he went into Egypt to bring out the people of Israel from bondage. It took him another 40 years. So Moses was a man of number 40. That's what you must note about him. Remember the prophet Elijah. God talked about 40 days. The journey is far. You're going to be traveling for 40 days. So arise and eat. So he ate 3 times as the angel appeared to serve him in that place of isolation where he was with God. So the number 3 is associated with the prophet Elijah here, and then the number 40. Remember when he stopped the rain, 3.5 years, 3, and then 3 times the angel came. Then for 40 days and 40 nights he had to go trekking. So these two numbers, 3 and 40, are associated with the prophet Elijah. Every prophet have got numbers. I've had several occasions where Bishop David Ibiyome would say that he had to wait on God for 3 days to get what others wait on God for 40 days or 10 days or 21 days to get. That's his prophetic number. After 3 days, God says, stop. What you've asked for, I've given it to you. But in your own case, it may be 7 days. So you are not me, I'm not you. You need to try out to know exactly which number works for you. Okay, I've had the man of God, Dr. Benny Hin, talking about numbers. He said, if my battery is down, meaning that if I'm spiritually down, he said it takes me 2 weeks to recharge. Get this secret. It takes me 2 weeks. But I've also had occasions in which Reinhard Bonnke will say it will take me a full day to walk in my hotel room, to and fro. Like the prophet Elisha went to the Shunammite woman's house where the son was dead and was kept in the upper room, and the Bible said that the prophet stamped to and fro in the room. Then he came back and leaned on the child, and the child sneezed back to life. You get that? Bonnke talked about the issue of engaging a whole full day within the room. He may have been fasting, but evidently, as I followed Evangelist Reinhard Bonnke, God easily releases certain things to him than would have been the case with others. This is because he have got his prophetic number, and he had been able to discover it. Sometimes it's 1 for Reinhard Bonnke. Sometimes it's 2 weeks or 3 weeks. I've noticed those things after tracing his way of work. So as a prophetic person, be able to pick your number. It may take you 3 days to wait on God in prayer for you to be able to come out from that prayer room and be able to prophesy with the highest level of accuracy. It may take you 7 days to come out and be able to prophesy with the highest level of accuracy. You have to repeatedly try out yourself which number of days you fast and pray and wait on God, and then come back to give excellence or deliver your work or discharge your duty with excellence. If you've been able to try this out over and over, you'll be able to know which place exactly your own number fit into. And then when it comes to resharpening yourself to come out again to prophesy, you know how many days you need to go back to resharpen yourself before showing up again to prophesy. It's also very much possible that some accomplishment in ministry will go with your prophetic number. I discovered that looking at the life of Bishop David Ibiyome in particular, he was 46 when he laid the foundation for the 50,000 capacity in Canaan land, and he completed it that year. His son in the Lord, Pastor David Ibiyome, turned 46, then he laid the foundation for the 130 or 150,000 capacity auditorium. You get that? His son in the Lord again, Dr. Pastor Paul Enenche, was 46. Then he laid the foundation for the 100,000 capacity church auditorium there. So this family are a family of 46 in the sense of this nature of accomplishment. You need to know the number associated with your prophetic family. Explore to know which number is associated with your prophetic family. It will do you a lot good so that you don't try out things you are supposed to try out at the right time, then at the wrong time, and come back frustrated, because prophetic number will decide a lot about you. Then this is just about this. There are other areas of prophetic arithmetics in terms of the engagement of numbers, like as in the engagement of numbers to prophesy. For instance, when we're talking about the number 8, now to prophesy, I look at you and I see the number 8. Yeah, it could be that you are the 8th child in the family. That's what I'm going to ask God. I see the number 8, and that number again, when I see the number 8, it's possible that I'll see a Y in front of 8. That could mean that you are 8 years old. Sometimes prophets must take their time. When you see a number in the realm of the spirit, when you're going to prophesy, take out your time to watch out, because it's very much possible that there's going to be an additional information written in the name of the spirit attached to that number. When you see 8, it's possible you see a Y, or you see years written in full somewhere in the realm of the spirit, or you see M in front of the 8. Now, this M, you may still have to ask God, and He will feed you now through your auditory prophetic sense, where you may be told that the M is $1 million in dollars, or in pounds, or the M is in months. You get that? And for you in particular, each time you see an M in front of an 8 or in front of a number, that's a figure, it may have a specific interpretation in your own case. That is to say that it's not as in for all prophets across the world that when you see an 8, for instance, and an M in front, that you have to ask God whether it's a million or it's a month or it's money or it's whatever in terms of the M in front there. For you, the M may constantly mean month, and God have established that in the course of training you. So each time you see a figure and you see an M, it means month. You don't go beyond that. So you need to explore yourself and your trainings with God with respect to these. Try these out, say them out, confirm whether you are correct over and over until you come to a point where you've been able to identify the reason behind the number and the write-ups that follows when you see a particular figure. There are lots about the issue of number. Number, but the number in itself can have an interpretation. For instance, number 8 talks about new beginning. Even if you are the 8th child, or even if you're 8 years old, it may be that this person is 8 years old and this season is about being a new beginning in their family. So as a prophet, you're going to be probing. Let's talk about a particular aspect of the prophetic arithmetics that are called the logic of the prophetic. This one is that you have realities that you have to compare with another reality to get the right result, and you are accurate while doing that prophetically. Besides this, in the beginnings, you'll be comparing. At a point, the Holy Spirit will pick it up for you, and you handle these issues at a professional level. For instance, a piece of metal dropped in the magnetic field anywhere becomes a magnet. That's an established fact in the physical. If you know that, and the word says, he that dwells in the secret place of the Almighty shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. In Psalm 91, you must know that the shadow of God comes upon this person that now dwells in the secret place of the Almighty. Now, when you are in the secret place of God and God comes in, you must feel the presence of God. You have decided to separate yourself for a retreat, and God comes to meet with you there. You must feel the effect of his power. For one, when he shows up, you will receive signals like revelations, which may be have to do with your ability to see things right there, visualize things right there, or hear things in the realm of the spirit, or both, or be able to perceive things beyond what was the case before God showed up while you find yourself in that place of a resort with God. Listen to me, I'm not stopping there. Then think about this. He shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Then the man Job now said in Job chapter 29 and verse 2 that I was in the months past when the light of the Lord shined over me. Let's not stop there yet. I want to connect this with Psalm 91, the secret place and the shadow there. Apostle John now said, God is light, there is no darkness in him. And if God is light and there's no darkness in him, and I come to the secret place of the Almighty, and God is light, the shadow of God that comes upon me, where I am abiding in a shadow in the secret place, must have been the light of God. Listen to me. God is light, there's no darkness in him. So it follows that his shadow as well must be a light. The psalmist now said, the word of God is now a light unto my path and a lamp unto my feet, indicating that the shadow of God is a light unto your path, a lamp unto your feet. Now, as a prophet, come back with the issue of the secret place. When God comes to meet you in the secret place, it lights up that secret place. Are you getting what I'm saying? Then everything becomes open. Then you begin to see things with clarity prophetically. That's why when you go in for a quiet time or out for a quiet time, you get a lot of secrets about your life, about your ministry, and about things in general around you. Beyond this, by the time you return, there is this thing I want to say about you. Because you are like a piece of metal dropped in a magnetic field, namely the secret place of the Almighty. By the time you return to the public, you know what happens? You are going to be exhibiting the qualities of God. What do I mean? The same way the presence of God came upon you and you became open, things became exposed, and you began to see with clarity. When you make contact with people, they too are probable to access the prophetic realm. And besides this, the moment you come close to anybody and your presence comes in contact with them or shadow, let me put it that way, you will discover that everything about them become unlocked, and you begin to prophesy with the highest level of accuracy. My logic here is that when you go to the secret place of the Almighty, you become magnetized. So when you return, you become a magnet yourself. In other words, you become induced with the power of God, the same power that God carries, so that when you show forth, you carry the same power that God brought to meet you or came with when he met you in that closet or private place. So the more you repeatedly go there, the more magnetic you become, the more prophetic you become. You get what I'm saying? So by the time you come to the public, you begin to exhibit the qualities of God. In other words, the same way God sees and knows everything about you, anybody you come across, you automatically know almost or about everything about them. This is a secret with prophetic folks. The more we go to be known and seen by God, the more God becomes evidenced in us by way of the induction of the nature of God, the light of God into us. That light becomes a lamp, a light unto our path, and then a lamp unto our feet, so that whatever we come across, we're able to give detailed prophecies concerning these things. So you need to know the logic behind this.